Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. The impetus for making this video came from a recent comment on one of our videos on our channel recently, quoting directly, "Stop calling extensions and non-O, non-OA quote-unquote retirement visas. They are not any such thing. You get one-year extensions on them for various reasons, which may or may not be for retirement. The visas simply should not be called quote-unquote retirement visas. You do that often, Ben." Yeah, I do that often because that's what they are. So, long story short, I've gotten into this with, going back, I don't know, it's probably, we do so many of these videos, it's probably been at least a year and a half, maybe a couple of years ago. We got into this semantic argument, and I remember being in law school, like the first year we were in law school, and we had this old judge teaching, I think it was ethics, something. In any event, he was kind of one of these guys that had just been around the profession forever. And he said once, he said, never confuse semantics for substantive law. And the point he was trying to make was, you can get kind of bogged down labeling things without getting to the bottom of what things actually are. And you can get into a lot of semantic arguments without, quite frankly, without any real, you're just spinning your wheels, was basically his point. You're not getting to the substance of what you're dealing with. So I can't exactly figure out from this comment what the issue is, if it's calling them extensions or if it's calling them retirement visas in the O and OA category. But in either case, the argument behind this is wrong. And I've gone into this before. So it used to be, I remember reading something years back, maybe again, year and a half minimum, talking about how extensions of stay are not visas. That isn't true. Anyone that's in Thailand that's not a citizen with a right of abode, that's a foreign national, that's here legally, is going to be on some kind of visa status. They may be visa exempt and come in on a visa exemption stamp, but that is, their passport has been visaed, which is a word, okay? That you have a passport, and then when it's stamped with a visa, it's visaed, okay? So I'm not making this to try and, put anyone on the spot or anything like this. The reason for it is this notion that extensions aren't visas is very odd to me, and it's also sort of a semantic point, but it doesn't get to the substance of even what what folks that get on this topic try to differentiate. Yes, there is a difference between visas issued by embassies abroad and extensions or visas issued in Thailand. But the fact of the matter is, unless you are a citizen of a country, in this case Thailand, residents are a little bit of a different thing. I'll kind of speak to that in a moment. But unless you are a resident with a right of abode in a country, in order to maintain lawful status, you have to maintain a visa. And here in Thailand, that's exactly what you're dealing with here. So I've heard this before. I kind of want to put this one to bed. Extensions, yes, it's a different process than getting a visa issued from abroad, but it is nonetheless a visa. It's not some substantively different thing. It's not even a different thing at all. If you're in Thailand and you are maintaining lawful status as a non-immigrant, you have to have a visa. That is what it is. There's no difference between an extension done by immigration here in Thailand and a visa issued abroad. They're both non-immigrant visas. Now, to the issue of citizens are obvious. If you have a passport and you can travel into a country, you don't need a visa. Those people don't have a visa. But if you have a passport and you're going to a foreign country and you need a stamp in order to get into that country, that's a visa stamp. Your passport has been visaed. It has been stamped with a visa. Residence is an interesting thing, and there could be an argument to be made, and I don't think it's exactly a semantic point, that someone who's obtained residence in a given country, who's just staying in the country, has a visa. you can argue at that point, well, that person's a resident. They're residing there. That's where they live. That said, even in Thailand, those who wish to leave and come back have to obtain an immigrant visa in order to re-enter the country. Now, again, these are slightly different things, but that's issued by immigration here in Thailand. You leave and you come back in. It's similar to a re-entry permit. But I can kind of see where reasonable people can disagree as to whether or not residency, in this case permanent residency, is visa status, or at that point have you substantively changed your status. Strong argument to be made there, especially under the Immigration Act of '79, because you're treated differently under the Act. A resident doesn't have to deal with all the things that a non-immigrant visa holder has to deal with. So again, setting aside the extension versus visas thing, and I've discussed this in other videos even more deeply, frankly, but long story short, anyone that's in Thailand, especially in non-immigrant visa status, no matter how they're maintaining that status, they're in a visa status. So let's leave that aside. Now, the issue of non-O and non-OA retirement visas, they are no such thing. Well, I don't even know where you get that. Okay, we've discussed this at length in many videos on this channel before. The O category, retirement visas are not even mentioned in the Immigration Act. The O category is created under the miscellaneous subcategory within the Act that stipulates that visas can be created per ministerial regulations. O has always kind of colloquially referred to, or been kind of colloquially referred to as other visas, just O status, other status, meaning you're not in a B visa, you're not in an ED visa, you're not in a tourist visa, you're not in a religious visa, you're not in a media visa, you're in O status, you're in O visa status. So, or you're not in F status for like foreign diplomats or people on official business here in Thailand. You're not in any of those statuses, so you're in O status. Marriage does fall under the O category. Now that said, they remain visas, and there is a specific regulatory structure which pertains to retirement, as we've discussed at length multiple times throughout the tenure of this channel. There's the O retirement visa. Again, it's a retirement visa, and I want to go ahead and throw this image up on screen. We just pulled this off the internet. I pulled this off of Google Images. You can see what a retirement visa looks like. It's just sort of an exemplar, but you'll see they stamp it with the stamp that says retirement. I don't know how much more explicit it can get, but it's a retirement visa. Yes, it's under the miscellaneous category for the purpose of retirement. But that is what it is. And there is a regulatory framework which speaks directly to retirement visas. Things like you must be 50 years of age. You must meet certain financial requirements. Under the OA category, certain insurance requirements. This is a retirement visa. It is a visa issued for the purpose of retirement. So to be clear, there's no, this notion that extensions are not visas is erroneous. Visa status maintained in Thailand either through visa issuance at an embassy or consulate abroad or via immigration extensions, renewals of status within immigration, within Thailand at an immigration office. Those are all visas. Meanwhile, the O sort of blanket umbrella category covers a lot of ground. That's very true. But there are regulatory structures in place for obtaining, for example, an O retirement visa, so an O visa for purposes of retirement, or an OA visa, which is specifically for retirement. And you can extend that status from the time you enter in OA status, OA retirement visa status. So I don't know what this commenter is getting at, that there are no retirement visas. That's exactly what they are.